So, 4 days ago, somebody commented on one of my videos that I uploaded a couple of years ago, about 2018-19. And basically, it's a remastered or upconverted 4K version of the Utena car transformation scene from Revolutionary Girl Utena, the movie, or Revolutionary Girl Utena, the movie, or The Adolescence of Utena, or The Adolescence of Utena, which was basically a rebooted, I guess you could say soft reboot or soft reimagining of the original series, the original anime series and manga that came before it. And the person asked, why the hell does she transform into a car? Well, there is a commentary, that's out there by the director of the film. And they basically said the reason she turned into a car primarily is it's basically their take on it's their take on the Sleeping Beauty metaphor, if you will. It's the reverse take on Sleeping Beauty, as they called it. And what they meant by that is, like in Sleeping Beauty, when Aurora, that's the Disney name for Sleeping Beauty, when she pricks her finger on the spindle, she goes into a death-like sleep, and she can't be awoken unless she gets awoken by true love's kiss. So, in the case of Utena, she's the prince. So he figured, what if the princess, who is Anthe, is the one that has to wake her up, has to basically show true love to her in a manner that, allows them to be together. And the way this metaphor visually is, introduced, after Utena kind of wins the right to be with her, kind of, wins the rose ring or whatever it is, you have this car wash all of a sudden just pop up, and it starts sucking Utena in. Now, the way Utena, I'm trying to think of the right word to say here, and it is late. I do apologize. I'm still a little tired from the 4th of July, so I do apologize. But the way it's, kind of showcased is Utena sees this, and I guess it starts pulling her in, but I think she wants to have Anthe go with her, because what it does to the person that goes into it is it puts them into a sleep. And you see, basically, after Utena is dragged in, you kind of see it start to do its work, and it kind of puts her to sleep, because you see her body on this conveyor belt, and you see this Cindelar thing, Cindelar, I think, Cindelar thing cover her up, and then, it starts doing its work, and then you see this thing come on top of her, and basically it's essentially this car wash machine is the spindle in Sleeping Beauty. It's basically the equivalent of the spindle in Sleeping Beauty, and it's put Utena to sleep, and thus by putting her to sleep, it allows her to go into the car transformation. Basically get turned into a car. And basically the ring that Anthe was holding from Utena, because they were holding hands before Utena got dragged in or pulled in. Now the ring that Anthe is holding is a key. Just as it's a key. Mainly it becomes a key. I'm trying to say, the moment the car wash finishes its job, and out comes Utena as a car. And what happens then is Utena starts to rust up, and then you see this TV screen, which is sort of serves as a flashback for Anthe, remembering what this one guy who's the antagonist, is saying, that a car without a key goes to rust. So basically, the key is the kiss that that Utena needs to be revved up, if you catch my drift, to allow Anthe to leave. So Anthe hops into Utena, literally riding her, or driving her, if you will, puts the key in, starts her up, and away they go. And Utena is basically a call right now. She's still asleep until the very end, when Anthe chooses to go into the outside world, the real world. And she says the one thing called revolutionize the world and everything. And as she does this, you see that this ghostly imagery of the guy that we saw in the flashback trying to stop them, he gets basically plowed through by Anthe and now a restored Utena, who are now riding off naked together on basically the skeletized remains of Utena's car form, if you know what I mean, if you kind of get what I'm saying. But yeah, basically that's what this really is. It's a metaphor for the Sleeping Beauty, Sleeping Beauty moment in Sleeping Beauty. Basically, when Aurora, touches the, pricks her finger on the spindle and goes into a death-like slumber. That's kind of what this is. But again, like I said, it's the roles in reverse. It's basically, Anthe now serving as the, Anthe, who's the princess throughout, now serving as the prince, and Utena, who was serving as the prince, and now in the role of the princess, the Sleeping Beauty princess. That's basically why this thing happens, because basically going into this car thing puts her to sleep. And it allows her to get turned into a car, so thus she becomes an inanimate object, and she can't be brought back to life until Anthe chooses to go to the real world, the outside world, use the ring that's now a key to turn her on, if you catch my drift, and drive her out into the real world, and then accept, hey, this is what she wants to do, and thus by doing it, it fully awakens Utena and restores her to a human form. Again, I know that might sound, very convoluted and confusing to a lot of folks, but that's how the director, the guy behind this anime movie, this anime adaptation of the original anime series and manga, that was what his intentions were. And believe me, everybody that's reviewed this, from Bennett the Sage to several others, when they see this moment, the first thing that goes to their mind is, why? Why did she become a car? And then when they do find out later on the reasoning, they even question that. They're like, well, what sense does that make to turn her into a car if you want to go in that direction? Like, you could have gone in other different directions to make that happen. But this felt basically like, and I think even the director said, he wanted to make it memorable. He wanted to make a moment that's going to get people talking, and what better way to get them talking than to do something that they would not expect, they would not see coming. And believe me, nobody, and I mean it, nobody saw that moment coming, because you had transformations apparently in the original anime, but with other characters, like one character becoming a cow, and to be with her brother who becomes a cow himself or something like that. So you've had those kind of situations, but never with cars. But what was interesting about the film is the way they would reference cars, or the cars that had nameplates on them with like human names. They would reference them as if they were living people. They were actual people. Because obviously, as we find out later on, that's exactly who they are. They are people. But as cars, they're more acceptable to damage and could get killed, instantly without any control of somebody controlling them, as we see during the climax of the film. With one girl turned into a car, and she basically, out of her anger, allows herself to basically get destroyed. She crashes, blows up, gets destroyed, if you will. But yeah, long story. But yeah, getting back on topic here. He wanted to do it to get people talking, but he also wanted to do it by using that metaphor of Sleeping Beauty, but in reverse, by reversing the roles at the end. Basically making Utena, who was the prince throughout the movie, now put into the role of the princess, being put to sleep as a car. And Anthe, who was the princess, now put in the role of the prince to wake her up in the way she does. But yeah, that's what happened. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about that because, again, somebody a couple of days ago asked that question, and I thought I would take the opportunity here to explain it as best as I could. You can look up more information about it online. As everybody likes to say as of late, you could just Google it. You can AI it, and you'll get a pretty good, decent answer as to why this moment happened. From again, the Sleeping Beauty metaphor, but in reverse, as well as I think the director, like I said, wanted to do something that really would get people talking, catch them off guard, if you know what I mean. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below. Live chat during the premiere if you haven't already. Check out my Teespring store. Link will be in the description. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my other content, or other places where you can find my content. Links again are in the description. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you first thought about the scene when you saw it, and if you've ever had to explain it to somebody who was confused by it themselves. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. And until then, I am out.